We're live.
It's just Herbert. Hello.
Hi.
Hi guys, we're here.
It's Wednesday. Hot day.
Yeah, live day. Ducanas. For those who are watching for the first time, we're doing this.
Every Wednesday.
Huh?
Every Wednesday.
Yeah, every Wednesday around this time. It's the three of us, and we want to kind of bring some awareness to special needs in general, and like the way special needs was presented to us was like life is done, right?
Yes.
And we're like, okay, what's gonna happen now next? And then
Well, first of all, it's worth to say that neither of us were expecting to as far as we knew during pregnancy, everything was fine and we were good to go.
Yeah.
But either way, like when we found out, right?
Yeah.
The way it was presented to us by a bunch of doctors and a bunch of actually the nurses, they were kind of
The NICU nurses were
Yeah.
awesome.
but some of the, not all the doctors, some of the doctors were like, okay, your life is over, you're gonna get broke, you're gonna get this and this and that. So,
Yeah, no, and even like not even like the medical professionals, like people around us, they
not everybody.
not friends, but like people like, oh yeah, this happens, and this, like people that knew, special needs life before. And we don't think about it. We don't think that this is true. Like we went through a dark phase, or a few dark phases.
But I think as a
financially
parent,
as
you
well.
would do that with any kid, anyways.
Yeah.
I think
But
because it's also adaptation, like the phase that you go through the phase and then you accept what's going on and then you kind of find joy.
he agrees.
So I think that
You gonna say hi?
you want to say hi? No.
Hi. Not today? Okay, maybe you say bye after. So the way we got introduced to special needs life was kind of rough, and then for all the circumstances too, and we got to a point where we were actually talking about it yesterday, right? Like, did we ever imagine that we'd get to this point of our lives after Luke was born that would be like comfortable and feeling like so like.
Yeah, because actually what we were talking yesterday is that we went through like a few different phases. Like when we, because Carol asked me last night, like, do you ever think that we were gonna find so much joy on this life, like with Luke and all that? And then I said like yes, and then we were talking about the phases. So we had a phase that we were in the NICU where. Like when we first got in the NICU, we had no idea what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
And then within a few days.
No, within a few weeks.
I don't know. Like in the first, I remember like clearly the first 3 days was like pure darkness.
Yeah.
And then we started to like okay, and then we found joy, and then within a few weeks we were joking with the staff and all that stuff.
We made friends, and then and then was the roller coaster that they talk about, up and down,
But then going home was a third phase, remember?
Yeah. Going home was like, yeah, we're going home, and then we get home,
we were
like, what was supposed to do? And
then we had the 911 call, and then
it was crazy. But then now we make all this move, and Colorado has so much to offer for special needs, and we're really blessed that we're here, and we are being able to use and enjoy all those benefits. And but that brings me to the subject that we were going to talk about, was the surgery, right? So Luke has a surgery. Like, I remember when I was a kid, having a surgery as a kid was something that parents were like, freak out. Something that it's like, really needs a surgery. I remember my brother needed a surgery for his tonsils, and it was like big deal. And then now we're like, okay, we have a surgery. People asked me if I was nervous, and I said no.
Yeah,
And I'm
that's
like,
bullshit.
I didn't really think about it. I didn't really think about it until, so I couldn't really sleep the day before. We talked on Wednesday, right? And then the surgery was Thursday. I couldn't really sleep. I got like...
I woke up, I'll be honest, like, I went to bed, I left a mess in the house. I'm honest, like, I left a mess in the house.
Like every day.
And then I woke up, like, everything was spotless clean. I looked to her, like, what the hell is going on? She's like, I couldn't sleep.
So I couldn't sleep. And then all these crazy thoughts come through my mind, and then we went to the surgery, and Lucas doing good. He's great. He's like happy, right? That day he was like woke up. He's fine.
Yeah, he
And
actually
like,
woke me up because I put the alarm for 5 a.m. and then like at 4:57, I swear he never does anything, and then he just pop up the 2, and then the machine beep. I woke up, and then he went back to sleep, and then I started organizing the stuff.
I was awake way before that.
Yeah.
So he was in a great mood, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna have a great day. And we got there, and then anesthesiologist was awesome, like really awesome guy. He explained he had experience with myopathies. He explained to us like details and everything, and then they offer us to go to the OR.
Oh yeah. Bad mistake.
To the operation room.
Well, you can go until they
to get him under.
To get him under, yes.
Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, this is crazy. Like everybody I've never ever talked about, like they always say like, don't even try to see it. And I'm like, this is crazy. And Richard's like, I wanna go. And I'm like, okay, I will be a bad mom if I don't go. And I'm gonna look like a chicken. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go. And I'm like, okay, let's go. And then we dressed up, all dressed up, and then we
yeah,
went.
because you gotta cover everything, and it's crazy.
And then we got there. Well, we were on our way. Luke was like,
smiling,
talking a little bit, and he's like, "Yeah, guys, this sounds awesome." And then when they transferred him from his crib to the operation room, operation bed.
He was already like,
he was like, no. He was like mad.
Yeah.
He was like, I don't know what's going on, because the lights were really bright, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. So he got mad, and I started like singing for him, because I'm like, calm down. He should have sung it to me, because I started. And I started singing to him, and he calmed down. And then they gave him the thing, the gas.
The gas to sleep.
To sleep. And then when he starts sleeping, I don't know what it is.
Listen, if you are a parent and your kids need to go under,
never go.
Don't watch it, because it's excruciating. Like I mean, we left there. She started to cry, and I was like white in shock, to a point that I started debating if going back to respiratory therapy school was a good idea.
Wait, but let me finish. Let me end it. Okay. So I like details. So then he started like closing his eyes, right? And then that feeling, it's like horrible. And I got out of there crying, because I'm like, and then the doctor was just sitting down waiting for them to do their jobs, the anesthesiologists do their job, so they could he could start. And I got out of there like crying, and like. I'm like, and then I told Richard, I told him like, never ever let me do this again. And he's like, what? I thought you were fine.
Yeah,
and then he started, like, he wasn't like, until he saw, right?
Yeah.
I
was okay until I saw him going under.
And I was like, what the heck is that? And then half an hour later, we're in the waiting room. It's supposed to take an hour and a half. The nurse comes, Wigan.
Not even the nurse. The receptionist comes in like,
Wigan.
They wanted to talk to you in a conference room. And then we were used to with Joe DiMaggio, where the doctor just comes out and talk to you. And then here, like the receptionist go grab you, and we weren't prepared for that.
Yeah.
And then they put you in a conference room. I was like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, I thought the doctor
was supposed to take an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And then in like 40 minutes at the most, the reception comes in and he needs to talk in the conference room. We're like,
No, I thought the doctor was gonna call from the operation room to say like, hey, listen, we didn't see this, but we saw this. What do you think?
yeah.
And then I asked her like, what's going on? She's like, oh, he's done. I'm like, oh, okay. Why don't you come with that information before?
Yeah, just tell him like he's done, everything's fine. The doctor's gonna talk to you.
Yeah.
I think that would be a lot
Yeah.
easier.
And then we stayed there for like half an hour, and then he came and explained to us and everything. And then like 15 minutes later, they call us like, he's already on the post-op and he's awake, and you guys wanna come see him? And then we went to see him, and he was actually crying because of the blood pressure thing, because he doesn't like it.
Yeah.
And then they said, okay, we're gonna be here for a few more minutes, and then you guys are done, good to go. And then Richard looked at the nurse.
Oh, the plan, listen, that's another thing too. And I gotta say, whenever you have a kid, doesn't matter how much you plan, those little boogers, they have their own plan, okay? And Luke recovered so quick, and that he was like, he didn't need any like narcotic for pain. So he said like he only needs Tylenol and Motrin, and then you guys can go home. And then I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
They're
Like,
playing with respiratory.
I came here to stay 24 hours, you know, like it's an abdominal surgery and all this. Because with the ear tubes, it's like a 2-second operation. But with that, you know, like it took 40 minutes, 45 minutes. I'm like, okay, I was ready to stay like for the day there. And when he said like you can go home, I was like, no. I started to freak out. I was like, no. What the hell are you talking about? To go home.
And then we had a friend who came to visit, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna get her so she can see Luke. I'm gonna get her, so he like walk away.
I was like, no. I'm not taking him home with 3 holes in his abs. You know? It was messed up, but it's true.
Yada. We went home.
Yeah.
But the yada was...
No, they had to call, like honestly, they had to call the nurse practitioner to talk
from
to
the muscle
from
clinic.
the muscle clinic. Then they had to call the respiratory therapist from the muscle clinic to come talk to us to, you know, like to see what the hell was going on. And then they were like, listen, he's fine to go home, but Daddy here was like, no.
Yeah.
I don't want to take him home and like one of the stitches comes out and I have to go back.
No, the nurse is explaining on the phone to the doctor saying, well, Mommy is really comfortable going home, but Dad...
Dad is freaking out.
And I'm like, can you put that on notes and then show it to him after? And then when the respiratory team came, he's like, okay, so why you don't want to go home? And then Richard's like trying to find reasons. And he's like, oh, because we're going to sleep. Then we can sleep. We can sleep here. You know, like at home we can sleep. And he wasn't even going to sleep there. And I'm like, listen, I didn't sleep last night. I'm not going to sleep in the hospital. Are you crazy? Yeah. And then they all start laughing.
And then I was like, because I know, like, I was like, listen, they told us they needed to look him 24 hours because of the breathing. And then that was my main concern of like, if there is a concern and they wanted to watch him, it's for a reason. Yeah. But, you know.
I think the main reason they had it was because they actually called the doctor and asked him why. And he's like, if he's not in pain and not a lot of meds for pain, and his level, like his stats are fine, then he can go home. Yeah, because they want to give him us. Well, they said like just in case they want to give us Oxycontin. Yeah. It's like a very heavy, like narcotic. Heroin narcotic. Yeah. Well, and I'm like, I'm not taking this. No,
the only
I don't want that. If he's too bad, I take him back.
The only thing that really got me comfortable to go home was when they said, "Listen, he wouldn't go home if he was taking that narcotic for pain, because that can affect the breathing. But if he's not in that much pain,
and then you guys can go." Actually asked how much pain meds he had, and then they said he had a block, but he like 3 hours ago he had one, and he didn't have it again, and he was fine. Like his sets were fine, so it's like he's barely nothing. He's barely nothing.
So then that's when I realized I'm like, okay, I can.
Then you tried to find something else to say.
Yeah, no, but then I was like, okay, that explains. And then when they said like, I'm gonna give you a prescription just in case, and then we got to agreement of like, okay, if he really needs that pain medicine, we will come back here.
Yeah.
And then so we left there with no prescription drugs for pain,
Yeah.
just Tylenol and Motrin.
Yeah.
But like I was scared. I was scared.
Yeah, it was.
I did sleep the day before, but
Yeah, I didn't
I
sleep.
was scared.
I didn't sleep, and I knew I wasn't going to sleep in the hospital because that's the thing. Like everybody talks about, like when you have special needs kids, the parents know the best,
Yeah.
and I knew if he got admitted, I'll have to like explain to the nurse how he does, how he doesn't do. They will ask me like tons of questions
That's
of
true.
his routine, da 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 da. And then I was gonna, spend hours doing that for what? Another 20 hours or another 18 hours? No, I'd rather go home, and he was sleeping in his bed and I was sleeping on the air mattress
Yeah.
next to him.
Well, and like he actually slept really well the next day, and to have an idea how stressed I was, I slept like 12 hours straight with Luke because I was so tired
Yeah.
with all that stress.
So having said that, it's like when we were talking about like the way we felt like uncomfortable and the special needs were thrown at us, we feel so comfortable now that we think that we can care for him best at home than in the
Exactly.
hospital. You know?
Especially mommy.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, it's.
She was when I went there to talk to the doc, she was pretty much packed. I was like, "You were going home." I'm like, "No. Let's talk about this."
Yeah.
Well, but that happened too in the NICU. Remember, like we had one doctor that he spent like I don't know, like a week with nothing, no oxygen,
5 days.
no CPAP, nothing. And then they were like, "You're most likely gonna go home with nothing, not even oxygen." And I was like, "Okay, wait, that's way too far," because we've been in the NICU for 3 months.
Yeah. I was afraid to go home.
Yeah, oh, actually, with 2 months, because on that time we didn't have it diagnosed. And it's like, we're home, we're here for 2 months, and he haven't even breathed on his own for any time.
Then
And then we're just gonna go home with nothing. So,
bye bye.
but then we got the diagnosed, and then on that Saturday, so instead of getting discharged, and he kind of had a setback, so then we had to kind of plan everything again, and that's how we came home for the first time with the vent. And we came home with the vent with oxygen and suction machine. So
Yeah. Yeah, so I was like, you become so expert, like, on your kid and on that you're like, you ended up running like a mini,
a mini clinic.
in your house,
Yeah.
but still, some people don't get comfortable with that. And actually, it's funny because here I haven't heard that a lot in Florida, but here I hear a lot of, oh, you could stay in the hospital so you guys could rest.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like when we went to the ER, the doctor said that. She's like, oh, he could stay, we could admit him and get him
Yeah, but
watch
that
him
was-
for like 24 hours
Yeah.
so you guys could sleep. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, there's nothing wrong with him. She already did all the tests.
Yeah.
He's only dehydrated, and you want to admit him just to watch him? It's like, she's like, no, so you can get some rest.
Well, but let's be fair, because
But that's nice
Before-
that
yeah.
they offer that. Some parents would take it because there's no, like, they have other kids and there's no way around it. But
well, but let's be fair too, because before he had the trach, in like was December 2016. From December 2016 to like February 2016 or 2017, if we slept more than 2 hours straight was a lot, because he didn't have the trach and he was desetting at home, and it was just like a really nightmare. And on that time, we actually had one day that's like, okay, if we stay in the hospital, we'll actually be good because we're gonna be able to get a good night of rest.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Wait.
Yeah, but then after he got the trach, you know, things got a lot
Yeah,
better.
because then we thought the nurses knew much more than we did. Like we could trust them 100%,
Yeah.
110%, and we would be trusted 100%, I guess. And they have the resources too if there's an emergency and this and that. But now I'm like, you become the expert. It's the same as if you don't have a kid with disability. You know them best, and they also ask you like, is this normal for your kid? Like high temperature is normal, and this is normal, this is normal, and yeah. So the ups and downs, and I think I never felt well. Whatever looks so. I told Richard yesterday, I'm like, I never look so far away. Like I always think about the day. Today we're good. Today, and but looking back now, I'm like, how I never expected to be here in this way. It's so comfortable and so.
Yeah, I think the trach really made a difference.
Yeah.
Besides, I was super scared of the trach. I don't know how you were, but when we did the decision of doing the trach, that was like the best thing we did.
Yeah.
And we were finally being able to sleep some and all that. So.
Yeah, and when we moved, we thought we went all the way. We went backwards because we had so much to learn from this, the climate, and we had so much to learn. And we're like, okay, it feels like we just came out of the trach surgery.
But the good thing is we always say like Luke, it's stronger than all of us together. So he recovers pretty quick from surgery, and his adaptation here in Colorado went like, I think like a month and a half. He was like doing a lot better.
Yeah.
With the altitude and all that stuff. So
yeah, and now he's like 100%.
Now it's
yeah. So that recovery was that part. It was tough, but when you know your things. And it's interesting that I learn every day. Like even when we went to the hospital there and we stayed for 2 hours talking to the nurse practitioner and the RT, we still learn stuff. So you have to be open to help. Like you have to. I know all the parents want to help their kids, but you have to be open to. How can I say, like to take advices and to apply to your kid too, because a lot of times it's life gets in the middle and you just say whatever, there's nothing I can do for him and I'm not gonna do anything anyway, so let's just keep it moving.
Well, one thing I can say, and that's what I learned a lot with Lucas, when Kara was pregnant, everybody was talking like, oh, he's gonna be an amazing athlete and all that, and like one thing we talk about it was like, you know what, he's gonna do whatever he wants to do. And because what I learned, it's like kids have their own plan, their own way of being it, and you can force into it because like they are what they are. And sometimes I say like they teach us more than actually we teach them. And it's very important to listen to your kid. Don't try to force your belief or what you want on top of it, because it's just not gonna happen. And because they have their own plan,
right?
Like since day one, with Luke was like this. Everything we had planned, from birth plan to like the first year, even it was just thrown in the garbage, and Luke had his own set. So kids are like this. They're gonna have their own plan, and they're gonna be whatever they are meant to be. It's not what you want to be, it's whatever they were meant to be, so you can't force that. The only thing you can do is kind of like guide them through for whatever they want to do. So
and the fact that Luke doesn't,
and that was the most important thing I ever learned in my life, was like, let them be. He have his own time, he has his own thing. Just let them be kids and let them grow to what they're meant to be.
Yeah, and then Luke has his own plan like that for the surgery. He's like, I want to go home. I'm not staying here. I'm doing fine. Let's go, Daddy. Suck it up.
Yeah, that's like the perfect thing that I can picture him saying. It's like, you know what? I'm fine. Let's just go home. I don't want to be here. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. So.
And it's funny because he couldn't sit up. I don't know if you guys saw the picture, but he couldn't sit up. So
Yes, he
I'm
laughed
like,
on that.
then Richard's like, oh, I'll carry him onto the car. It's like
Yeah.
on the second floor, third floor. We were
Second floor.
second floor,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Well, yeah, the only thing I could think of it is carry him, but
yeah. And then the nurse said, no, we have a wagon. Do you want a wagon? And she helped us, and we put him on the wagon,
Yeah.
which I always wanted to put him on. And then
so now
It's
we need to
really
get a
nice.
wagon because
Yeah.
he looked really good on it.
he
and
was really
We
yeah.
can take him outside.
And he enjoyed it. Yeah, it was funny. It was fun. Yeah, I agree. I think like Luke doesn't have a cognitive disability, so a lot of the things too, it's related to that he's just right on stuff.
Yeah.
And for example, now he's having throwing some tantrums when he wants something and we don't give it to him, or we take it away from him and he starts crying.
He's
and
getting
he has like
terrible twos.
tears and I'm like, and I'm not used to that because first I'm a first time mom, and then second, he never cried. He cried only if he was really uncomfortable or something happened, or so I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, now it's a little bit different.
So he started like crying now, and I tested the other day. I gave him the iPad, and then he played for a little bit, and I took it out, and he started crying, like insanely crying, like someone bit him.
Which is good because developed his lung, and to be honest, like we didn't hear him cry when he was born, so it's actually really good to him cry. Yeah, and I think it's a good thing to hear him cry, but it's just like we know that he's just doing that because he wants something that he doesn't have it.
Yeah.
But
it was crazy. And then I told the therapist because again, I'm a first time mom and I have no idea, and she went through a lot of kids because she's a PT. So I told her like, he's like really like crying his eyes out when I take the iPad out or something, and she's like, these terrible twos are coming.
Yeah.
Is it right, Luki?
He's too concentrated
he's
now.
concentrating on reading.
But
he knows what he wants now, like meaning, he is really confident on saying what he likes and what he doesn't like. So he learned how to do no.
He learned how to do read. So now, like when it's time to read, he's always like, read.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't like the music or the book, he starts to cry.
He started yelling. Yeah. And then the reading, he loves it so much that like he would have us reading for him all night.
It's like easily 5 books a night, before he goes to bed.
And then
and when we finish the last one, he still cries because he wants more.
And then you said,
like,
okay,
asking.
we're done, and he's like, and then we're like, we're done. We're gonna go see, cause we see like actually a friend of ours, Chris, gave it to him like stars, and then we're gonna see the stars, and then he's like crying his eyes out. It's insane.
But it's funny because like I think we went through a phase of dealing with the disability, which I like to call different abilities. And then now we're merging into like, typical kid, because we're so comfortable with the trach and carrying him up and down and doing all that stuff. But now it's like we're getting into the real kid
and
type of thing.
That's the thing that the therapists remind me too. She's like, Mom, remember, he's gonna go through regular, like typical developmental parts. And I'm like, yeah, you're not really like, you're concerned about so many things, and you're not really, not that you're concerned, but you're not really thinking about it.
Yeah, because like all your attention is going to the machines, the suction, and all that.
And he's crying. Why he's crying? Why he's crying? What's going on? What's going on?
Before, you know, I would easily say until like he was a year and a half, pretty much everything that he cries for, we will look for medical. Like, is his heart rate okay? Is his oxygen okay? And is he breathing all right? And all that stuff. But now, when we cry and we see that everything's stable, we were like, okay.
Yeah, and out of a sudden.
So he doesn't like the music, he doesn't like the book or whatever.
Yeah, and out of a sudden he cries, and out of a sudden he stops crying if you bring him something else that he likes and he's interested in. It's like, it's like his tears are still here, and he's already smiling.
Exactly. He have like tears is going on, and he says something he likes. He's like, he's already enjoying it. But I guess.
Yeah. So, we talk about the surgery. This week we're taking it easy with him because technically the doctor said 2 to 3 weeks without sitting up.
Yeah, he's already sitting a little bit.
Yeah.
He has no pain and he's fine, but technically he couldn't do a whole lot of
he's really
ab work,
here.
so the therapies have backed down a little bit for 1 more week and then we'll be good to go.
Yeah.
But
did you explain about the second?
Yeah, so that's what I'm going to say about the surgery. So what they did is they found the testicles. So they went there, they had to cut the main blood supply so the second blood supply kind of connect and keep the testicles alive. So in 5 months from now, they need to go in again because he went down a little bit because the right one was right that close to his belly button.
Mm-hmm.
Then the left one was a little bit behind his bowels. So they kind of have to put it forward and to a place that is a lot more access to it. But according to the doctor, they drop a little bit, but not a whole lot. But where they are now, they're not going to come down by themselves because they're still kind of trapped. But what they need to do is wait for make sure that the blood supply is still going on and keeping the testicles alive. So in 5 months from now, they have to go in and then they finish putting back in because the main blood supply was too constricted, so they didn't have enough space to put it all the way down. So that's why it didn't go down the first time. And there's always a risk of the testicles not surviving. So if they don't survive, they just go in and they take it out. But if they do take it out, when he goes to puberty, he's still gonna need to do some hormone supplements to, But hopefully, he said like most of the time it stays alive, and then he goes in and just cut it a little bit and put it down.
Yeah,
so.
I talked to other mom. There's a group on Facebook of kids with hypertonia, and I spoke to another mom who had a son, and the same thing happened, and
you done looking?
And she had a 2-stage surgery, and she said the second one, the recovery is
you
the
want
same
another
way.
one? So in 5 months we're not gonna have another daddy freak out day.
But before that we're gonna get admitted.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah, we need to change his circuit. It's kind of weird, but Florida, and that varies from doctor to doctor and areas to areas, state to state. I don't know, but he's on his vent is on an active circuit that have 3 tubings instead of 1, and then there's a few different things on the machine too. So they're gonna change for the passive one, which is better for him, and a little bit more. He had more control of the breathing. So they're gonna go in. So we're gonna have to spend a night over there, like almost like a mini sleep study. So that's pretty much it.
Oh yeah, like a sleep study.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're in terms of that. I don't know if I don't think that's gonna be a big deal. They want to do now because.
Yeah, they want to wait for the flu season to end.
Yeah.
Flu season here in Colorado do last a little longer because I guess it stays cold for a little longer. But other than that,
Just-
Colorado, it's weird in terms of weather, I must
Which
say.
is a blessing.
Like yesterday was like, well, actually Sunday was like 82 degrees.
Yeah.
And then Monday it was like what, 20, there was what, 68 or something.
And today
and
is
then-
like 40.
And today is like 40 degrees in the morning.
Yeah.
So that's Colorado. But other than that, that's
It
why,
snows one day, the next day it's like,
It's like
70,
sun.
70s.
which is pretty cool. But
Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
alright, so I guess that's it for this week. We'll be here next Wednesday at the afternoon, Mountain Time,
Yeah.
sometime in Mountain Time.
Ask any questions if you guys have comments, questions, so we can
I
discuss
know-
that next week.
I know a lot of people are asking for translation in Portuguese, but I do upload this video later on YouTube, and I think the way we set it up YouTube, if you put on closed caption, you can choose Portuguese now, so you can see the closed captions with the
It's
Portuguese.
not 100%, but
It's not 100%, but yeah. And
oh, and last week we talked about the subject of the new baby that we're gonna talk about next time.
well, maybe we can talk on the next time.
Yeah.
Next week we'll talk about it because we're really starting to plan maybe the second one. So
Plan? Think
yeah,
about it.
think about it. Think about planning. But either way, that's probably a subject because we're probably over half an hour anyway.
Yeah, yeah. We'll go next time.
So next time we will talk about bringing in maybe a second, like a sister or brother for Luke. One that doesn't have 4 paws.
Yeah, and Daddy decide he's gonna get pregnant.
If I would, if I could. But either way.
Alright.
So, like I said, next, and to be honest, I really appreciate that we're having like a lot of views,
Yeah.
and we really appreciate that. And if you like it, you can always share. And if you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, that would be pretty awesome. And like I said, we're trying to. I actually posted a video on my YouTube channel about something that happened this weekend. I don't want to talk about it now, but so this is probably like what we're trying to do. You know, like we want to show that different abilities is not a bad thing. It's not nothing to freak out. You can find love and you can find joy anywhere with anything in the world, and that's our main purpose. Like we want to share and open our lives to show that, you know, having a kid with trach and having a kid with physical or visible challenges is not a big deal. So like I said, if you guys have any questions, I know like one of my videos on YouTube, changing the trach, I got a lot of questions asking if changing the trach it's easy or not, and I'll be more than happy to explain that. And it's super easy, so it just like once you know all the steps and all that, you know, like it makes it easy. So life with disabled child, it's I would say it's pretty awesome because Luke, it's pretty awesome. So
Remember, he chose us, and
Exactly.
we chose him.
so
It's meant to be.
yeah, so you know, and that's our main goal, is to share that, to share our love and to share how we do things and how we try to live life as normal as possible. So
Yeah. Well, normal. It's normal. It's for some people. It's different than normal
exactly,
for us.
yeah.
So we find happiness in life, and that's what we want to share.
Exactly. Okay.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Now
Thank you
have
for
to say
watching.
goodbye. You gonna say
You
goodbye?
want to say goodbye, Luke? Yay! You're awesome, buddy.
Mwah. All right, guys.
All right, guys. Thank you very much.
See you next week.
See you next week, and I will upload this video later on YouTube. Thank you.